everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith E. Phillips and this is part 2, video 2, the second video in my little outline series here. I am challenging myself in the month of August to completely outline my next project, my next book that I'd like to write. I do a very detailed outline and so I need quite a bit of time to finish it, but I'm at a point where it's like, okay, let's just get this done. And August seemed like a good month to do it. If you missed the first video in this series, I'll link it below. But just to catch you up real quick, I hadn't looked at this project in about 6 or 7 weeks. And I started digging into it in the last vlog and I've been pretty successful. It's going really well. So I'm very excited about that. I am, however, currently, I left off, it was a cliffhanger last time, but I left you off last time with me realizing that I needed a grand gesture at the end of this romance novel and I have no idea what it should be. The pieces are there, the setup is there, it the way, the forward momentum of this book at the moment, it's building to a big grand gesture moment, but your girl can't think of anything that seems plausible or fun or surprising, but also inevitable at the same time, you know? So anyway, I was doing some thinking and kind of trying to poke around. I was trying to look up sometimes those articles or videos where it's like, what's a grand gesture? What's an inciting incident? I know what those things are. I could give you a definition of them, of course, but sometimes just watching those kinds of videos or reading articles about them, sometimes just sort of triggers stuff. Sometimes it's just the way things are phrased. You're like, oh, wait, okay, wait, I can do this or that, whatever. So I was trying to see maybe something will make some idea pop to mind. It did not. So I'm still stymied on this grand gesture. But I do feel like this is the last piece of this book that is very much still a mystery to me. I have a few other portions of this outline, I think back in Act 3, Act 2, that I need to kind of get to, which I know what's going to be happening at this point. I just haven't quite detailed it all out yet. So most of this is filled in and kind of ready to go into the next stage. I really want to figure out what this grand gesture should be, because if there's any other setup necessary for it, I need to know that now so I can build that into earlier portions of the book. I also wanted to show you real quick what this process sort of looks like, or what an outline looks like for me, because I feel like it goes through different stages as I'm trying to figure out the whole story. Very briefly, the first stage for me is just brain dump. I've got some kind of weird ideas in my head. I just jot them all down in a Scrivener document. It's usually just a bullet point list of this kind of scene could be fun. I think the character should have this backstory. Maybe they could do this kind of activity in the book. It's all these just goofy ideas. Sometimes they're connected, sometimes they're not. It's just whatever's in my brain. A lot of it ends up being things that I never end up using, or I twist it and change it so much as I go through the rest of the process that it's completely unrecognizable. But that's the first step, just kind of getting all those brain dump notes taken care of. The next big step for me is filling in this beat sheet outline. This sheet is an amalgamation of a couple different things. I think at this point it started as simply the beat sheet that goes with Gwen Hayes's Romancing the Beat, right? Which is in itself sort of a twist on the basic beat sheet of any novel, like Save the Cat, those kind of things, but it's specific for romance novels. Over the years, I've added stuff to this. So I took a workshop, a romance workshop, a year and a half ago now, I guess. And there were portions of the outline stuff that was presented there that I really liked, and I melded it with what I already had here, and then I've incorporated stuff, I think, from John Truby's Anatomy of Story. It's got a lot of stuff in it, and it's all stuff where it's this piece makes sense from this thing, and this piece makes sense from this thing, and this piece makes sense from this thing, and I'm just gonna put them all in this big outline thing. So that's what this is. And on my sheet here, I'll try to show you a blank version of this on the screen, but I have the sort of little name of the beat and then a description of the beat, and then there's a box for me to fill in, okay, in my story, what is happening during this beat. Of course, there are scenes that come in between the beats, and there's no rule that says you have to have something for every single one of these beats. Some beats are a little more non-negotiable than others. In a romance, you need a meet cute, like they've got to meet at some point. So I mean, you know, like some of them you're not going to be able to avoid, but other ones are a little more flexible in terms of like, do you need this in your particular story? The other thing that can be changed here is the order of these beats. Again, some of them, like obviously the meet cute is going to be like at the beginning of the book somewhere, but other things can kind of be messed with, flip-flopped, whatever suits your story that you want to tell. So at this point, I'm almost done with this beat sheet outline. When this is finished, I will go in and I'm going to pull out, okay, what are the actual individual scenes? Make a quick list of like a scene where this happens, a scene where this happens, a scene where that happens. And then we go into the scene by scene outline where I break down every single scene I want to write for the book. I use a little template for that as well. This template is super helpful to me. Again, this is a combination of several different things, mainly from chapter 10 in John Truby's Anatomy of Storybook. But using this template really helps me figure out, do I need this scene at all? Is the scene doing anything? Is there enough conflict in the scene? Is there an opponent in the scene? Could this scene be merged with another scene? Is there too much happening in this scene and I actually need to break it apart into two separate scenes? Like, it really helps me analyze it in that way to make sure I'm crafting them so that they are as good as they can be. Once I'm done with the scene by scene outline, then I'm ready to jump into a first draft. If you want a few more details on all of those various steps, I have a video from almost 2 years ago now. It's just my outlining process. I rewatched it the other day and my process really hasn't changed all that much. So I'll link that below if you want to watch that for more information, or if you have questions about how I outline, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer. Anyway, this afternoon, what I'd like to do is, I'm just going to kind of be trying to figure this out. I feel like I'm close. I feel like I'm close to figuring it out. I just need the little spark of an idea to get me going. So I don't know what's going to spark it, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to check in with you a little later, but I wanted to say, hey, open this vlog up, tell you kind of where I am in the process of outlining, what outlining means to me, etc., etc. And yeah, we'll get back to work here in a little while. What? You're the one who came in here. All right, that work is done, and now we get to come do this other work. I work a lot. I've been thinking about this dang grand gesture in the back of my head for the last couple hours. I don't have any ideas right now. So what I'm going to do is pretend it doesn't exist as an issue. I'm just going to go back to that little section in Act 2 where I was like, things are happening here. And I kind of know what's happening, but I need a little more concrete ideas about what's happening. So I think this should be fairly straightforward, possibly, to fill in. I just haven't filled it in. So let me at least work on that so that I can make some progress instead of just sitting here trying to think of something for the end. And maybe as I work through this, some magical part of my brain will be like, here's the perfect solution. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this, I don't think. Today, let me get going here, look at my notes for Act 2, and fill in some of these blanks. Oh, hold on a second. I turned out all the lights and I was gonna go on my way and I forgot all about you. Sorry. That's what one of the kids said to me. Oh my gosh. When I used to be a teacher, I taught first grade, And there was one year we had spring break. We were out for a week. And when we came back, I was at the classroom door when all the kids got there. And as they were coming in, they were like, "Hi, Mrs. Phillips." Da, da, da. This one little girl comes out over from hanging up her backpack, and she's coming into the room, and she looks up at me and she goes, "Oh, I forgot all about you." Anyway, I forgot all about you. Okay, so I'm working my way through the Act 2 stuff. Nothing crazy. I do feel like this needs a little bit of work. Like, there's stuff happening, but there's not a lot of conflict, Meredith. There's not a lot of conflict right in here. And this is like part of the fun and games section, so it should be fun. And it is, but like, there needs to be a little something else going on. Because right now it's just like, they're going to go on a road trip and it's great and blah, 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 blah. So a little more thinking to do, but not for today because I am tired. I didn't play Stardew Valley at all yesterday. At all. So I have some catching up to do. Okay? I'm going to finish getting dinner ready. And then I'm going to play Stardew Valley tonight. And I'm not going to go back to that computer until tomorrow morning. Hello, I'm back. It's Thursday, but because this is the second day for this vlog, it feels like Tuesday. Anyway, so this morning I decided, yesterday afternoon I was like, I'm gonna go back to Act 2. Well, this morning I was like, let me jump forward to that grand gesture issue again. I decided, I had some thoughts last night, because I was of course still thinking about everything, even though I wasn't working on it actively here at my computer, and I thought, let's go back, because, okay, grand gesture should involve some risk, right? Somebody's doing something to face their fears and go all out, right? So I was like, let me go back to the original like character sheets I worked on where I was answering all the questions about their fears and their wants and their needs and all of the things, right? And I thought maybe, like refresh myself a little bit on what these characters are supposed to be fearful of, what fear could they face in this grand gesture moment to, overcome things or whatever. I reviewed all that information and I was looking like, what does my main character need and how is the love interest character going to fill that need for them? So I wrote out some notes for myself, and instead of coming up with a grand gesture, I thought of a different way to set up the grand gesture, which is more compelling, I think, than what I had, and it introduces some additional like stress and tension and like self-doubt into things, which I think will be good in terms of like the pacing and the heightened emotion as you get closer and closer to the end. So I do like that a lot. Still stuck on the grand gesture problem. I feel like wait, did I just think of it? Is that too easy? Wait, hold on. Let me write down some notes. Hold on a second. Wait, did I just think of it? Oh my gosh, did I just think of it? Is that it? I think I love it. He's sacrificing something for her. He's facing his fears. She's also going to sacrifice something for him. That's the like compromise I was talking about. Oh my gosh, I think this is perfect. Why didn't I think of this like 3 weeks ago? This is such a like, I don't think it's, okay. I'll keep thinking about it. Right now, I'm like, duh. Like, obviously that's the solution. But is it too obvious in that it's going to be like, well, yeah, duh, everybody's going to see it coming kind of way? Because you don't want it to be that. I think there's an element of it that is inevitable, but there's another piece of it that'll be like I guess like a surprise. We'll see. Okay. Oh my gosh. I've been sitting at my day job all day being like, okay, after this is over, I'm gonna have to go sit at this computer again and try to figure out this dang grand gesture situation. Just like thinking about it all day. Okay, so apparently your brain does some crazy work when you just let it simmer. I guess that's the only, I don't know. All right, that was very fun. I think that's it. Like, that's all, that's what this is built like. Okay, I like it. I'm going to leave it for now. We could change it because, like I said, everything's building to this. So if I want to change the grand gesture at some point, I could. And I don't think that will negate or mess up the setup for it. You know what I mean? Ooh, congratulations to me for thinking of stuff for my book. I think okay. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. I think this will work really well. I think it'll work really well. Did I just nail the ending of my book in the outline stage? Hopefully. Hopefully. I feel like this works really well in like the whole like fourth act kind of stuff. I think all of this comes together really well. Hopefully not in an overly predictable manner. Fingers crossed. So now what? That was over very quickly. I was anticipating sitting here for like an hour being like, I don't know what's gonna happen. So what? Now I guess I'll go back to Act 2. Let me fix how I wrote this, because right now it's just like, and then she's like this and he's like this. That's literally what it says at the moment. So let me rewrite this so it sounds a little more professional, since I was just brain dumping all of those thoughts. And then I'll go back to Act 2. What a wild little 8.5 minutes that was. All right, so I'm gonna do those things I just said, and you can watch, or I'll set the camera up and you can watch Jade, because she's on the floor down there. Can you see her? There she is. Hi, BB. Okay. I just wrote it all out. Oh, I'm excited. I think this is so fun. Oh, I think it works really well. I think it works really well. I'm like so nervous I'm gonna look at it in like 3 days and be like, oh, except for this giant plot hole you missed. But at the moment, I think it's pretty solid. I'm really excited. I think this is so cute. Okay, so I need to go back still to that Act 2 section, like the fun and games section. Where even was that? I've got a lot of stuff in here. I feel like the other thing too is, I don't know if we've talked about this yet. I said this to a writer friend like not too long ago, but anyway, there's so much content, I feel like, for this book. I'm really nervous about like, what is the word count gonna be? Obviously, we definitely want to keep it under 100. And ideally, we'd like to keep it under 90. I don't know. I just like, some of these scenes are like chunky scenes. There's just like a lot happening. It's a lot of fun stuff, but I'm worried about that word count, man. I don't know how that's going to end up. For first draft, we don't need to worry about that too much. And I'm also thinking too, like, as I think through the scenes that I already have in mind, I don't feel like there's anything that stands out as like, oh, this is just fluff, or how does this tie into anything? Do you really need to have this? You know, I'll be able to evaluate better, I think, once I get into that scene by scene outline stage, where I'm looking at every single scene and asking, does this need to be a scene? Can we just delete it? Can it be combined with something else? All that kind of stuff. So I'm not worried about it like too much at the moment. I'm just I'm very curious to see like, what is the final word count going to be for like draft 1, you know? What was my final word count? What was my word count at the end of Rogue's Guide? Draft 1 of Rogue's Guide was 58,000 words, which is like pretty on par, I feel like, for me. Oh, what was Twice Married? Do I have that information somewhere? Hold on. I have all my sticky notes. All my sticky notes for Rogue's Guide. All the different drafts. All the different drafts. Okay, it's just at the front of my planner. I'm pretty sure I have something like that for Twice Married. Let me go look, because now I want to know. Where is my planner from last year? Oh, is it here? Okay. See, this is why we never throw away planners, because you never know when you might want to look at it for some random thing. Did I have a sticky note like that? I can't remember. Oh gosh. Wow. Memories. Na, 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 na. Oh, I went to go see Lawrence that year. Oh, crying. Dang, past me was not on top of it, I will tell you that. I am not to be deterred. I will find out. We're going to open the Scrivener document, consarn it. This is so irrelevant. Like, this doesn't matter at all. I need to know. I need to know. Oh, here's draft one. Here's draft one. I found it. I found it. I found it. I found it. We're not going to read it because that's going to send us into a spiral. Draft one of Twice Married was, oh my gosh, 63,000 words. What was I saying? We're not going to read it. Okay, but 63,000 and 58,000. So that told us absolutely nothing. But for reference, Twice Married, the first draft was 63,000 words. The first draft of Rogue's Guide was 58,000 words. So hopefully this one will be around 60 when I'm finished with it. And then who knows where we'll go from there. Anyway, I need to go and get dinner started. I might come back here and fiddle a little bit with whatever I'm doing in this act 2, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this end. I think it's very good, if I do say so myself. Let me cut this off for today. I'll come back tomorrow for a final day for this vlog, and then I'm going to vlog all weekend, and you'll get that vlog. I guess this is going to go live on Tuesday. Anyway, okay, I gotta go. My battery's almost dead too. I'll see you later. It's me. I'm wearing pants they're just pajamas, okay? They're not even lounge pants, they're just straight up pajamas. I'm gonna unload the dishwasher and we're gonna chat about Act 2. So this morning I was going back to Act 2 because we finished the end. The end is, I think, good. I'm so like nervous that it's not good. But for the moment, I think it's good. So I went back to Act 2 this morning. And I really need to work on this road trip element. I'm so surprised that like this is something that's like not quite cohesive. But I think the thing I'm really worried about is I don't want it to end up episodic. And I have the game element in there where the two of them come up with like a game with points that they play each day to sort of like pass the time or whatever. So there's that element, so that's building. But I feel like there needs to be something else that is like building or some other thing that like, I don't know, pushes this to not just be like, first they went to this town and then they stayed at this place and they picked up this lady and then they went to the next town and they picked up this lady and then they went to the next town and they picked up this lady, you know what I mean? So the sequence for this book is like the collect the team sequence. So if you watch a movie like Ocean's 11, Magnificent Seven, right, there's a point at the beginning of the movie or the book or whatever where they're like, we have to do this difficult thing, and then it's like we have to collect the team, right? I love that so much. It's like, it's just so fun. And so that's what this book has, is there's like, oh no, there's this huge issue, and then the main character's like, I'm gonna collect the team so we can fix it, you know? So I feel like I need the road trip, because I did consider briefly like, do you need this? The only other option here though is then like all the ladies just show up at the village, which isn't quite as fun. And it's also the point in the story, it's like the fun and games section. So the two main love interest characters are like getting to know each other more and like kind of getting interested in each other, right? It's like that, you're building the relationship and the interest there. So I definitely want to include it. It's one of the first elements I had in mind for this story. So I feel like I would need a compelling reason to get rid of it. But yeah, it's not quite like punchy enough. So I need to go back through and just sort of like pull it apart, I think, and figure out what works, because there are elements of it that are really fun and I think work really well, and then like what is not working so great. Once I have that in place, then I'm basically done. I'm basically done with that version of the outline. Then I'll be able to start in on the scene by scene stuff, which we'll get to at some point later. But yeah, this is like the last part that's really still not completely janky, but it's a little janky. So yeah, I'm close. I don't feel like this is gonna be some mega issue like the end of the book was, but my goal right now, the original goal, was to have this beat sheet completed by August 3rd, which is Sunday, and today's Friday. So I feel like that's very doable, and you'll get to see the results of that in the next video. So I think you should, if I can keep on top of editing, you should be seeing this video on Tuesday, and you'll get that weekend and probably like weekend plus Monday vlog on Friday. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how everything is working out so far. I'm already excited about this story. I think it's gonna be so fun. I can't wait to write it. For now, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, you can click the subscribe button. I usually post videos on Fridays, but this month we just decided we're gonna go for Tuesday Fridays, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye.